isn't that kind of what we're going to face in the, say it with me now, multiverse of madness? Oh, great job, guys. Just like we rehearsed. Okay. We're going to have let's say it all together, multiverse of madness. Okay. That was better than rehearsal. The Donut Bag is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Your data is your business. Protect it with ExpressVPN. For 3 extra months free with a 1-year package, go to the link listed in my Twitter profile. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Donut Bag. This episode, I am recapping the season finale of Loki with my Team Marvelicious buddies, Andrew Dzurko and Pam Bruchwalski. And it was good stuff. I'm telling you, I'm loving this weekly episode thing. I don't, it's nice that Netflix does the, dump a whole season in one day thing. That works too. But with a show like this, it's good to analyze every episode and every week. So really good stuff. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I saw the Black Widow movie in the theater, and that was nice. It was nice seeing a movie in the theater again, but not so nice. I never was really crazy about being in crowds of people, and I didn't like that it was a packed theater. I wasn't that crazy about it. I don't know. I like people, but when they're like a little bit away from me. If that makes any sense, just get away from me a little bit. But anyway, yeah, lots of good stuff from Marvel coming out. So here is our talk of the Loki season finale. The Donut Bag starts right now.
My god!
So what did we? Let's start with our little rating system. Out of 10, what do we give this one?
15.
Oh wow, you guys are rating on the highest scale. I give this like probably a 9 out of 10. If I had to pick my favorite episode overall throughout the series, it'd be the 5th episode, because that was just goofy fan service crap, and I ate that up.
If I were to pick a favorite one, it would have been the 4th one when they killed the Chuck E. Cheese robots.
But yeah, that was a good moment.
See, this one was good. It did everything it was supposed to. It's you have a season, and now we know there'll be a second season. But it answered a lot of questions, which is what you want. The problem is it didn't answer them the way I wanted them to be answered, and I didn't.
The problem is it answered the questions that we had from the current season. And then it was like, yeah, screw you. Here's 1,000 other different questions you could ask after this series finale. So, yeah, it answered our questions fine, but it was just like, here's 1,000,000 other questions to answer.
I thought it was brilliant. I don't care what you guys say. I thought it was brilliant.
I'm not trashing it.
All right.
I'm not trash. I'm not saying it was bad. I would give it a 9.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm not just saying
that episode.
It's now. Here's what I heard. I don't have any confirmation of this, but originally this was supposed to be a 12-episode season. There was not supposed to be a season 2, and the reason it was going to be a 12-episode season and cut down to 6 was because of COVID. So just like everything had to be rearranged. This was supposed to be, so that's why now that kind of makes more sense as to why this was the way it was. But I mean, we don't know how everything's going to be in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, I'm no complaints. I mean, it did what it was supposed to do, which is all you want. All you could ask for is, none of that lost crap, none of that other shows that don't leave you with satisfying endings or anything like that. And this was not an ending. Yes. So this was just a the end of a season. So
Yeah.
I just can't. I mean, I just can't get over the impact of that Planet of the Apes moment at the end, which for me I saw that as a child, and it was just building up to that moment. So
You damn dirty apes, you blew it up.
yeah,
Pam, that is such a good analogy, and that's perfect because that's exactly what happened. He goes and everything's different.
So to me, the fact that I read that too, that it was supposed to be 12 episodes, but they made it into 6. But if they made that into 6 and that was the ending of this season, kudos for being friggin' brilliant. That was amazing.
Good stuff. Good stuff. There is another
nice little cliffhanger to end on.
Yeah. There is another analogy in this episode that it reminded me of, and that's Willy Wonka. It's very
another
much
one, but I get
it. Very much of Willy
Clockwork Orange, Willy Wonka, like all over the place type of feel.
Have you guys seen the movie Contact?
Oh God, yeah.
That whole opening.
I have not, but I've heard that reference. I've heard that in reference to this show or this episode. Excuse me.
Yeah, that was another one. I'm a huge fan of that movie. I love that movie. So
I'm a huge fan of hating that movie. There was that line in a South Park episode. It's like 2 hours watch a movie, and it was her gosh darn father.
Oh yes, well,
it was a good movie. I like anything related to space and sci-fi and anything like that. But
all right, so Joe, take us through chronologically. Like, take us through the episode.
Let's start.
How do we go through the episode?
So we start with. Okay, so the intro was very interesting because it had a lot of clips and sound bites from previous movies
and the cat music.
Well, it also had actual real world people in it.
Yeah, it had that Greta girl.
That was very cool to me.
And Maya Angelou, and there was Neil Armstrong. Lots of things. Not exactly sure why what that meant.
Because they're motivational and they're like inspirational throughout time. Like that's supposed to be what it's.
Or are they representative of different moments in time that could have been considered? Here's me overthinking. That could have been considered different convergences in different parts of a multiverse if they're looked at differently. Different people choosing their free will.
Maybe different maybe different strands of time have passed through different versions of that and have that as their history, but like other timelines don't.
And then there is this graphic of basically universes being created and
ooh. Pick me.
Yes, Andrew.
Yay. That's so they have that little picture of like the universe, and then they pan out and they have that like secondary universe.
Okay.
I'm praying to God they're going to do the ultimate universe. So the ultimate universe, the ultimate universe is a side universe from the 616 traditional comic book like superheroes that we know, and it's a retelling of their origin stories basically. And so Peter Parker gets bit by a spider, but Venom is like some weird symbiote that was created by his dad.
I mean, but isn't that kind of either what if, or isn't that kind of what we're going to face in the, say it with me now, multiverse of madness? Oh, great job, guys. Just like we rehearsed. Okay. But that sounds like we're going to get all kinds of variations of all kinds of different people.
Absolutely. And this is honestly, I think this is how they're going to introduce. Well, Miles Morales has to come into the MCU.
Definitely.
There's never going to be. They're never going to stop clamoring for that. So Miles Morales, this is how they bring him in. Yeah. But you're right, and the multiverse of madness can bring in so many different things. It's just absolutely crazy.
It's going to be, as the kids say, cray. So cray. Yeah. So we see Loki and Sylvie. They just did the previous episode. They just defeated Alioth, and they're holding hands, going to the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful
and
Wizard of
who
Oz.
shows up, and it's kind of, I didn't notice this, but it's not, it kind of like, she kind of like jumped in your face as Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes, I knew it was you.
Boy, is she sinister here! Like, oh man. And
well, she actually like changes her, like the entire time she's been big-eyed Miss Minutes, like doing her thing, but she actually changes her eye, like tone or whatever.
Oh,
like she scowls at them. She's like, and like when they're like, we determine our own destiny, she goes, yeah, you do, and she gives them like an eye roll.
Major evil
like, eye. That was new for Miss Minutes. Miss Minutes was like pretty tame.
I mean,
up until that point.
In every other episode, she's like, "Hey, y'all, I'm Miss Minutes." Now she's like, "Yeah, you're gonna die.
Yeah,
y'all gonna die right now."
Yeah, yeah. So, and she offers them a deal. It's like, well, you could have whatever you want. You could win your Battle of New York. You could kill Thanos. You could have your own timeline together. You could all live happily ever after. Everything will be just the way you want. Sylvie, you can be happy and free. And they're like,
whoa, hold up. You forgot the part where those two timelines are joined. That's the thing she promises them. That they can do it together.
So she's saying that they can make modifications to the sacred timeline so that Loki gets whatever he wants.
And Sylvie is still there. Sylvie is there with him and gets all she wants.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, they tell her to bug off. So it's like,
before we keep going, can I back up to something that was said even before Miss Minutes pops out?
Go ahead.
Are you talking about when Loki and Sylvie are talking?
Yeah, right before Miss Minutes comes, Sophie says something. She said, "I was pruned before you even existed."
Yeah, what did that mean?
What does that mean? What I mean,
that just means earlier on the prime timeline. That's all I took that as.
But she wasn't.
That sounded so significant to me. I was like, what does that mean?
I was pruned before you even existed. Like, yeah. What?
I went back and listened again to make sure I heard it right.
Like, what does that? Yeah, what does that mean? That's interesting.
That means she was the Loki pruned before the Loki prime that we're following actually existed. That's all that means.
But not really, because
why not really?
The reality we know in episode 4, Loki gets pruned, and then in episode 5, Sylvie prunes herself. So how did she get pruned before Loki even existed?
She was pruned before when the TVA took her.
They didn't prune her though. They didn't send her to the void.
Yeah. Well, no, they didn't quote unquote prune her, but they probably listed her as pruned when she jumped through one of their stolen TVA pads.
But that's
it's bureaucracy.
Pruned.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's a bureaucracy. Are you really going to sit there and be like, yeah, such and such stole my TVA pad? No, you're going to just list her as pruned.
Maybe. It sounded like
that is pretty. Yeah. I wonder what that. Yeah.
That sounded like an important line, but then it isn't really realized later in the show.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe it'll be next season. That'll mean something. I don't know.
Interesting.
And in all of this, time is relative. So really, if she was quote unquote pruned before Loki, she was probably pruned right at the same time Loki was. So
yep. So we see in the TVA, we see Renslayer, and there's Miss Minutes again. She's like, what did Renslayer say? Hey, where'd you go? It's like, oh, I had to deal with something. And here's your information. And so Renslayer's like, this isn't the information I was looking for. It's like, yeah, well, that's what you need, or something like that.
Well, no, she specifically says he thought that would be more useful. Yeah. And she's like, who's he?
Right. Because from Renslayer's point of view, she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know who's in charge. She thought it was the Chuck E. Cheese animatronic robots.
Yeah, I
or
guess that
somebody
really
at
is
least
true.
behind, but she didn't know who it was.
Yeah. So we go back to Loki and Sylvie, and here we see Jonathan Majors as we call him here, He Who Remains. Now, this is quote unquote a surprise because he is listed as showing up in the Ant-Man Quantumania movie. And when they asked him, hey, you're going to be in Loki, he's like, what? What are you talking? What? No. What? No.
Classic Marvel divergence.
Yeah, that was a big lie. So he is He Who Remains, who was one of the people we guessed as to who is behind
he's
this.
both. All right, I'll get into it later.
He's Kang and He Who Remains, right?
Yes, I will get into that later. So, Pam, what was your reaction to that?
Which part? Like who he shows up?
When he shows up and they call him He Who Remains.
Well, I mean, like you said, we had talked about it before, and I was like, okay, that's Kang. But I thought it was interesting they didn't call him that. Like he sort of said, some people call me a conqueror, but he never says the word Kang. No one says the word Kang, which I thought was interesting.
Explain this if anybody wants the explanation.
We'll get to that in a second. Okay. So they go to inside the castle, and there's 3 statues there, and one of them is destroyed. Like, what? What is this? What are these statues?
I honestly paid very little attention to the statues.
One of the statues was destroyed, so that's
they all look like hooded figures to me, and I was just like, all right, I'm not going to see a face on you. So I
read that there's some reference to something that is supposed to be something that was destroyed in some other version of something, but I guess I did kind of the same thing Andrew did. I'm like, okay, one of them's destroyed. If they're going to explain it, great. If not, I'm not going to worry about it. So.
Right.
You're all in hoods. I can't see your faces. I don't care.
So Sylvie tries to kill him, and he's like, nice try.
Yeah, swing and a miss.
That was
swing and a miss. Just a bit outside.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
No. I loved that elevator scene where he was just like, no, nope.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, he can just see through time and figure out where he needs to be within that space to not get dead.
Or his device can.
Whatever his device can.
So
Pam, you sounded like you liked that series.
I thought it was hysterical. I'm hearing Kang the Conqueror, like He Who Remains. Did anybody expect him to be this like comic relief hysterical?
Exactly. I think Jonathan
played it so good.
I think he knocked it out of the park. I loved him this episode. He
was my favorite part of the entire episode, and I'm talking about a series with Tom Hiddleston in it, where I usually love Tom Hiddleston
and Owen Wilson. Yeah,
and Owen Wilson.
Speaking of Owen Wilson, we go back to the TVA, and there's Mobius. Like, I'm back.
Yeah.
So
you're not going to be happy to see me then.
Yeah. I failed in my homework. I have not been working on my Owen Wilson impersonation. I'm very sorry.
Joey,
I told my daughter I'm working on my Owen Wilson impersonation. She's like, "Who's that?" Like, and then the only way that my daughter would know about Owen Wilson is he was the voice of Lightning McQueen in Cars.
Ka-chow!
Ka-chow! Yeah.
Not the Night at the Museum movies. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's. So yeah. And then we find out about that pencil, and Hunter B-15 goes back to 2018 at Franklin Roosevelt High School.
One of my favorite moments of this entire series. Yay.
And it's basically she's just leading the other hunters there to show them, hey, this is all a lie, guys. She's just a variant. She's just like, because they look at her, it's like, hey, you're Judge Renslayer. She's like, who the heck's that?
Okay. So 2018. What year are we in this show again?
2024 or 2023 or something like that. Technically we're in 2012.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all right, hold up. The time frame doesn't actually matter. The Loki we're dealing with is 2012 Loki.
Right.
Other than that, they can jump to whatever timeline.
Right.
They want.
The time doesn't matter, but yeah, we're at
the Loki is the Loki, the prime Loki that we're following is 2012 Loki. That's the only thing that really canonically matters. So other than that, they can jump to wherever the hell they want.
Okay. I mean, I see what you're saying, but they're choosing these years and these dates for a reason.
Right.
And I thought.
I agree with you. I don't doubt that this is going to come back and play some part.
It wasn't in this scene, but in an upcoming scene when Renslayer and Mobius are talking, she said something like, "We've known each other for eons." Well, isn't an eon 1,000 years?
Yeah.
Give me 1 second and I'll Google it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a long time, in the very least.
Right. So yeah. So what was somehow Renslayer caused a Nexus event and she became a variant and she became a part of the TVA. So
that's a billion years. An eon is a billion years.
A billion years. Oh, wow.
A unit of time equal to a billion years.
Well, there you go.
Put it on as far as Google is concerned.
Okay. So back to Kang's house. He already knows the outcome of every scenario.
Kang's house.
He shows him the script. It's like, guys, I already know what's gonna happen. This is, you can't kill me.
No, this is a really great part for me, especially considering the scene that follows after the break. I actually really love this scene in retrospect. So
yeah, it's really cool. I like how Loki says it's a parlor trick. Nice,
but it's not though. That's so mind twisting. And it messes with me in a lot of ways. So
he says that, he says it's necessary to do the things in a certain way, the way they're supposed to be. So, just part of that whole thought of free will is just an illusion. We're all just doing what we're supposed to do.
Well, see, that's the weird thing is that Loki has said in previous movies, free will is an illusion. You desire to be ruled. He says that in Avengers.
Right.
So he's learning.
Now he's backtracking on them.
Now he's finding it. Yeah.
Well, he's learning it.
Yep.
Way before he does in the timeline that existed before this series.
So on to that concept, we go back to the TVA, and Renslayer and Mobius are arguing, and Mobius wants to change things, and Renslayer wants things to stay the same.
I don't know that that's true, but go ahead.
What do you think?
So she disappears in the same scene that Joe was describing. She kicks back Mobius. She's done all that. And she taps, opens a time portal. And she says, I'm going to find free will. And that is the last we see of her. What does she mean by that?
Yeah. Good question. Miss Minutes gave her something that blew her mind.
Minutes, all right, so Miss Minutes gave her part of something. I would be stunned if Miss Minutes had the wherewithal to give her the entirety of this is who's running the TVA, this is how you find him type deal.
No, but it was probably like, if you want your answers, go here or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. Or you have to go on this quest or something like that. Like, I don't know. Like, she had to hide it under different files, and you have to do this thing to unlock this other file, and I don't know. Make it like a video game, something like that. Pam, what did you think of that?
What, Miss? I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know.
There is one line that when Mobius and Renslayer are fighting, she says something like, "Even with that, you're no danger to me." Like, Is she basically saying you suck? Or I don't know. I'm not sure what
he's an analyst. He's not a fighter.
Maybe.
So I that's what I took that as, but
I that part was brief and confusing. It was just this little bit in the middle of these other bigger things that I thought, wait a minute, what did that mean?
Yep. So
Okay,
back to whose house? Kang's house.
Okay.
And he explains basically that his the origin or what the story of behind all this, that
so significant in this, and I'm gonna comic book nerd everybody up for this one. So significant in this is that he drops the 31st century.
Yes,
and he says specifically the 31st century. That is where Kang is canonically from, and this is my belief. They've combined He Who Is Left with Kang the Conqueror because they don't have a way to work in the Fantastic Four yet, because Kang canonically is known as Nathaniel Richards, a descendant of
Reed Richards.
Yep. So, or Doctor Doom, depending on which version you read. I
think what's going to happen is we have one version of whatever you want to call him, Kang, whatever. And this version is actually like maybe the nicest, most mildest version of like
he's the benevolent
possible
version.
But he won and remained. So
exactly. He's the one that won. But
so now we get to face all his darkest, bitchiest, like most evil versions.
So the story that he tells is, yes, he lived in the 31st century. He discovered there were other universes like stacked on top of each other, and all the variants discovered each other and created, I guess you could say, a council of Kangs. And they shared technology and everything was wonderful, but some of them variants were not so great, and they wanted to rule over the other ones. So,
all right, so you're 100% accurate with the Council of Kangs, because that is absolutely a thing. But yes, they do destroy them.
I thought I made it up, but okay.
No, there's literally in comic book canon, there is a Council of Kangs, and they all get together and argue, and then eventually they all kill each other.
Not to go off a tangent, but isn't there a Council of Mortys or something like that, or Council of Ricks and Rick and Morty? I mean, that's a concept that's like in other shows. It's like a council of
there is a Council of Ricks, and there is the higher order of Ricks.
And I'm guessing, I wonder if they got that from this.
You know? Oh no! Oh, that's 100% what they're parodying.
Okay. That's
all right. So Rick and Morty, if you haven't watched it on this, for people listening to this show, if you like this kind of multiversal, like kind of,
it's literally what it's all about. It's all kinds of different universes. It's crazy.
Exactly. Just mess uppery. Yeah. Go watch Rick and Morty. Seriously.
Yeah. So
you will not know if Schrodinger's cat is ever alive or dead.
So, okay. So yeah. So basically it sounds like how this version of Kang won the war was because he was able to control Alioth, which is the smoke monster. Yeah. Because he was able to control it, and Alioth eats time and space, and he could eat other universes and all that stuff. So,
but now don't Sylvie and Loki control it?
Sylvie and Loki killed it.
No, they enchanted it. That doesn't mean they killed it.
But it disappeared. So what did they enchant it to go away?
Maybe they told it to disappear. That doesn't mean they killed it.
Okay, so it went to the dog park. Okay, fine. So he uses Destroy, and he says, if you think I'm evil, wait till you meet my variants, which is chilling as heck. He knows, he says, yeah, my methods might suck, but this is the best way. The dictatorship of the TVA is best for everyone.
This is
So,
the way.
This is the way.
Mandalorian reference. Yeah.
There you go. So he basically says, there's two outcomes here. Either I control everything or you two control everything. Funny thing is, neither of those actually turn out to be the case. But this is your Willy Wonka moment.
Don't they narrow it down? Isn't it Loki who says, Loki Prime, who says stifling order or cataclysmic chaos? Like, ooh, those are our choices. That's
right. Seriously, that's it's like the underlying debate is: do you want fascism or do you want democracy?
Like, no, it's not even that. It's, do you want fascism or do you want anarchy?
Yeah, basically.
You want absolute control or absolute like chaos. And so those are the two cards you're dealt, and you have to play one of them. And I like that. I like that dynamic personally.
He says that he's older than he looks. He's lived a million lifetimes, and this is the only one that works. Interesting line there. He's waited a long time for someone to take over. Another Willy Wonka moment.
He also said, "We're all villains here."
Right.
I do like that.
Right.
He doesn't let them cop out on the stuff that they've done. He's just like, yeah, you're a mass murderer. Yeah, you've killed a bunch of people in other timelines just to protect yourself. None of us get away scot-free here.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Yes,
that was a good point.
Yeah, Sylvie, you're not the hero that you think you are. Yeah. So, and then this is where, then he says, "I don't know what's going to happen next."
I like this. I love this.
Like, how did this happen? Like, what? All
right, I can explain this.
Okay.
Pick me, Joe. Pick me, Joe.
Andrew.
Okay, so they say in the series that the timekeepers, quote unquote, are still writing the final end of time. He doesn't know exactly how everything is going to go past a certain point unless he writes it, unless he goes and studies it and figures out the best timeline. He stopped. And so at the point where he's like, oh, we've gone past the threshold, he doesn't legitimately know what's going to happen.
But isn't that convenient that while he's there with Loki and Sylvie, that's the end of the story? That's the end of that's when things are not predictable anymore. That seems
he 100% planned that. He 100% planned that.
Oh, so he planned that for them to say, okay, we'll
because he wants them to take over for him. Okay. He wants them to be the new one, or He Who Remains, or Kang, or whatever you want to call the character. He wants them to take over the TVA and to tell them what their mission is. So he wants them to.
That's right. Take over. He said, you run a TVA, you show yourself as the boss, and you explain to them the mission. Okay.
Exactly.
Isn't it interesting that this is the point at which, okay, he says time stops, and this is also the point at which all of a sudden Loki and Sylvie actually have some free will.
Right.
Like, what a paradox right there.
It's not a paradox. I think he planned that. I literally think,
planned the free will part?
Yes. I think legitimately
he planned for him he planned for himself to die.
I don't
think he cared that he died, because he said, yeah, I'll just be here. It'll just end up with me here again. Whatever.
You're exactly right, Joe. I don't think he cared what the outcome was. I think he just wanted to know what the outcome was so he could do his little time wibbly wobbly whatever. And he didn't know that when he didn't know, Loki and Sylvie were just going to sit there and fight about it. That's when he takes off the bracelet. Clearly in that fight scene, he just takes it off and he's like, I don't care anymore. I'm going to let you all decide what's going to happen. So, yeah. So, what did you guys think about that fight scene? That fight scene was to me.
It was what to you?
It was
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't want to see them. seeing them fight was irritating to me. Like,
I liked seeing them fight. I didn't like the choreography of the
I'm
actual
really happy that the fate of the universe is decided by two people like who are rationally decide to start fighting.
All right.
Like, and I like that Loki's like, can we talk about this instead of trying to kill each other?
Thank you. I was pulling Team Prime Loki the entire time, and I was like,
me too.
We literally were deciding the entire fate of the like everything. Can we like take 2 seconds to talk about
Can
this?
we talk about it?
Yeah, who would ever think? Isn't it interesting? He's like ripped on the whole series for talking too much, but he's making sense right there. He's the one making sense.
Exactly.
Right.
But I did love, so if I can fast forward through the fight scene, was there anything in the fight scene you guys wanted to comment on? I didn't see anything.
I just want to point out real quick that this entire thing would have been avoided if they let Hulk take the stairs. Just saying.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay.
Anyways.
The fight scene and then the kiss was
Thank
okay.
God Almighty, Odin, whatever. I don't care. The one above all. I don't care. I have to thank that. I thought this like Loki pouring his heart out, and it's this like cheesy romantic comedy like confession, and then they kiss, and I was like, God, if this ends this way, I will hate this series forever. And then Sylvie spins it around, and it's just like, yeah, nope, bye through a telepad, stab.
Where'd she get the telepad?
I don't care. I don't even care. Well, she was standing by the desk. By the time she had fully spun around, she was standing by the desk, and she couldn't have done it.
I just don't want to see them.
I don't care. I just love that it wasn't a sappy cop out. I didn't want like, oh, Sylvie and Loki's all their woes are going to be solved by the power of a kiss. That is too Disney princess for me. Wasn't that the last Star Wars movie? I barely pay attention to those Star Wars movies anymore.
Andrew, please.
How dare you?
All right, Pam. All right, go ahead. Comments.
But okay. I have agreed with you all along. I didn't want it to be this sappy kissing love thing. But as much as they have been leading to that moment for this entire 6 episodes, it worked because of I feel like Loki Prime really learned something when he says something like, I don't want to be, what did he say? I don't want a throne.
I don't want to be on the throne.
Okay. Which I thought he's learning crash course how to have empathy in this series before all this other stuff happens on the timeline. But then when bitch sends him back, it makes it even more powerful. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was perfect. They used
he's had a lot of growth this year. Yes. This 6 episodes. So
which is where he grows to actually in all of the other movies prior up until Endgame. But this is like crash course. So I like the way they do it. It worked for me.
Yeah. So she kills him, and he just says, "See you soon." Wink.
Oh, she kills Kang. Never mind. Never mind. Sorry.
And then he says something like "reincarnation, baby."
Yeah. See you soon. He says,
see you soon.
Well, because he knows because they let the timeline split. He has other incarnations.
He knows how this is going to go. This is going to go the way it went before the last multiversal war, where all the Kangs fought, and then there was one that triumphed.
Again, I don't know that we can truly call this version of this character Kang. So
Nathaniel Richards, variants of Nathaniel Richards, whatever we want to call them. I don't know.
All right, no. See, no. Joe, you just brought me to my fighting point. So they never name drop Kang. They never name drop anything Nathaniel Richards or Richards-esque, which is all linked to the Fantastic Four. That's how they're going to bring the Fantastic Four into the MCU.
Okay, I have a comment. So, it's ironic. It's just a comment. We're talking about whether or not we think He Who Remains has planned this all along. But do you think that Marvel, whoever is writing the Marvel stuff right now, Kevin Feige, do you think they have a plan for all of
Well,
this?
that
this
is
point?
the question. That is the question.
At this point,
What
yes.
role? Yeah, I'm sure they have a plan for how this is all going to work out. But what we don't know is what role this character is going to have. And is he going to be the main villain? Is he going to be just in it?
He's already the main villain in Ant-Man 3 Quantumania.
Well, we know he's going to be in Ant-Man, but we don't know if he's going to be the main villain.
Yeah. Is he the new Thanos?
Exactly. Is he the new Thanos, or is he just some dude?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm telling you right now, he's going to be the Thanos level threat.
Well, the Planet of the Apes moment with that statue leads you to believe that he really is. I mean, that was that.
Can I just say it ripped my heart out? So you're talking about the statue in the TVA at the very end, right, Pam?
Yes.
So it ripped my ever-loving heart out when Loki runs up and he's all concerned and he's telling all the stuff to Mobius, and Mobius is like, "You're an analyst, right?" And he's like trying to figure out, and you realize for that bleak moment that this isn't a Mobius that knows who Loki is, and that just ripped my heart out. I was just like, "Oh,
poor Loki!" At the end of this episode, the person who just kissed him basically betrayed him. He's great friends with Mobius, who doesn't even know who he is anymore. He's back to being all alone.
No. It's a different Mobius.
It's a different timeline.
It's a different Mobius.
I thought that the TVA was independent of all that.
I disagree strongly. I disagree strongly with them branching out past that little barrier that they have. Who knows what could happen? I'm thinking this is a different Mobius from a different timeline.
It has to be
like a Sylvie to a Loki.
Yes.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, it's like, but also there's a Hunter B-15 that also, I mean, that seemed almost a little convenient that they were, the two people that were trying to take down the TVA are just happen to be there. Like, that's kind of.
It's being answered in that piss poor excuse for an extended scene stamp that says Loki will return in Loki season 2.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean it's explained?
We don't know. We don't know right now. What's
nonsense. You, Pam, you stayed for the little stamp on the paper that said Loki will return. Yeah, that was it.
That bummed me out that there wasn't a real.
I was so pissed.
Well, one of the spoilers I saw on Twitter this morning at freaking 5:30 in the morning, I was so pissed about, was one of them that, there's this, look forward to this mid-credit scene, and we're going to find out that, Loki.
Oh, that's not the worst spoiler you could have gotten then.
No, I got it.
But still, that stinks. It kind of ruins the whole thing, because then it's like, this isn't really the end. This is just a continuation.
Well, and then I was.
Did anybody really think Loki was going to die permanently?
I didn't think he was going to die, but we did not get a jet ski. Okay, that's it. I'm changing this from a 9 to an 8. No jet ski.
Yeah, that might bring me down. That was pretty bad. That might bring down my 15.
Bring me down.
Oh man. Okay, there better end of season 2. There better be a jet ski. Or better see Mobius on that jet ski
at some point. I think it's required.
Disney Plus, Mobius in a jet ski. That's going to be an entire series.
It's like Cars, but with a jet ski.
It's literally just an hour
jet ski.
It's literally just an hour of Owen Wilson just on a jet ski, just going.
Wow.
And just humming to himself.
One interesting thing I heard, which makes sort of sense, is at the end of WandaVision, when Wanda is in the cabin and she's just like reading everything or something like that.
She's reading the Darkhold, yeah.
Yeah. And at one point she hears her kids, and people are saying, well, maybe she's hearing the kids at that moment that Sylvie killed He Who Remains and the timeline started breaking.
Yeah, that's a strong point. Is what was widely assumed is that she's pursuing her children through other timelines, other realities. So,
but there were no other realities
in theory, but you have to remember like the order that everything was supposed to be released in. So, like,
I think we should forget the order everything was supposed to be released in, because it's
all right, Pam.
I do.
Pam, you're absolutely right.
But yeah, it's well. Here's my point. Here's my question about all of this. So obviously, the future is we're going to have a, let's say it all together, multiverse of madness. Okay, that was better than rehearsal. Okay. Are we going to be okay with this? Are we going to be? We just spent the last 13 years watching all these movies, following this timeline, and basically, being engulfed in this story. And now what we're basically saying is all that is thrown away. We're going to have basically multiple Iron Man, multiple Spider-Man, multiple of everything.
No. Let me stop you right there, Joe. It's not that you're throwing away the characters that you already have. It's introducing new versions of those characters. So the multiverse. A multiversion.
I don't want versions. I like who they are.
But that's the thing.
No, but that's literally what Marvel did. So one of the things that I'm really excited about, if they continue with this multiverse, quote unquote, is they can incorporate what was one of my favorite comic lines was the Ultimate Marvel universe, where they just did reinterpretations of like how people got their powers and like what the storyline was, and you get to watch Captain America get Hulk in the nards, and like that was a great scene in the comic book. But like if they could ever bring that to screen, I'm down.
I would be okay with a movie like that. A movie where we see
what? Why wouldn't you be okay with a whole
Hulks.
Universe like that then?
No, I don't want. It would be too confusing.
No, it wouldn't. Not as long as they establish it as Ultimate versus like the regular Marvel universe. They did that for an entire decade in the comics, and then they smashed them together and had them have this big battle world thing called Secret Wars. And then they brought Miles Morales Spider-Man into the 616, the quote unquote prime Marvel.
Basically the end game of all this, and we're talking years from now. We'll probably get like the next Avengers movie, which will be many years from now, this is all going to come together into one universe again. Yeah. And when we come into that one universe again, there's going to be who knows what.
This is smash all your toys together and just like let them fight. That's all this is, Joe.
Here's also like what that.
Pam, you do or don't like that, Pam?
Okay. Now we've seen this once in the Spider-Verse movie, and the way they did it there was really cool and clever. They had all the various Spider-Men from different universes coming together to fight. I think that was that Kingpin or something like that, or something like that. I don't know. But so that was really cool. And then, but here's another thing. How is it so easy to go from one universe to the other?
It's not. That's what they're showing in this series, and with gathering the Infinity Gauntlet and like all this stuff. They're building up to how hard this is to do, and yet they're still going to just smash all these universes together.
It's so hard. So basically,
it took 24 movies. 23 movies and a bunch of shows.
Well, no, I'm talking about the future. I'm talking about now that we have our multiverse of Mad. Now we're going to have all these different timelines. He Who Remains said, "Oh yeah, me and various versions of me discovered that you could go from one universe to another." So is he the only one that knows how to do this? Is basically this war is going to be between various variations of him?
No, it's not. All right. So again, comic book deep diving. No, it is not. And one of the big questions I have for the MCU is what's going to happen if the branches of the timeline cross or mix and form their own other timeline. Like they don't ever address that.
It's
So,
already happened. It's already apparently it's already going on.
well, this is also their way of incorporating all the other universes into. So I don't know if you guys have seen
Like X-Men.
well, no, I don't know if you guys have seen the cast list for Spider-Man No Way Home. They already have characters from the previous 2 iterations of Spider-Man cast as villains. So
Right.
yeah, so there's
And
pretty
Doc
much
Ock and
Jamie
what's his
Foxx is
face?
Electro.
Yeah, so you're gonna maybe have a Sinister Six, but
Well, no, and not even that. I pretty much banked that Garfield and Maguire are going to show up, even if it's just in suit form. Like they're going to show up.
We'll see.
So
we'll see. It's
this just sets up so many questions. It answered a lot of questions that I wanted to know from the series, but it poses like so many other theoretical questions that I'm just like, I hate you so much.
Another thing I heard is that Loki is going to be in the Doctor Strange movie.
Yes, he absolutely. He's confirmed. He is confirmed for that.
He really is.
Okay. Yes, Tom Hiddleston is 100% confirmed.
Maybe was that before all this, or was that
no.
Or did that just come out?
No, that has been confirmed for months now. That's why they've been saying that this movie and WandaVision and Elizabeth Olsen is also confirmed for that movie.
Okay.
They've been saying that both of those series are going to tie very heavily into Doctor Strange Multiverse.
So, ranking the 3 series, would you put Loki 1, WandaVision 2, Falcon and Winter Soldier 3, or how would you rank them?
I would personally put Loki first, Falcon and Winter Soldier second, and WandaVision third. And that is a very close ranking for me. I'm not saying that any of those series are bad. Let me just put that out there.
What do you think, Pam?
Same, and very, 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 very close. The gap between 1 and 2 with Loki being first is a little bit bigger than like Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision were amazing. WandaVision for me, how about all those Emmy nods, by the way? But WandaVision for me only gets 3rd place instead of 2nd because the first couple of episodes were so what's going on? In retrospect, they're awesome. But as they were happening, it was like, okay,
what the heck's going on here? I almost bailed on the first thing after the first episode. I'm like, what is this crap?
And I think a lot of people feel the same way you do, Pam. It took me a minute, and I realized the sitcom vibe that they were going for, so I kind of like humored it because I chuckled at it. Like I was like, "Oh, it's Dick Van Dyke. I get it." But yeah, it wore on me.
Okay, so did WandaVision get a bunch of Emmy nods? I didn't see.
Yes,
it did for a lot of its visuals and for a lot of its screenplays.
It also got nominated. Paul Bettany got nominated. Elizabeth Olsen got nominated.
For what? Best actors?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. They deserve it.
Really?
So did Agatha. What's Catherine Hahn got nominated?
That's really surprising because anytime, and I know this is TV and not movies, but basically we've had 23, 24 movies now, and basically anytime there's like an Oscar or Golden Globe nomination or win or whatever, they basically shun all the MCU stuff. They basically think they're too above it. So it's really cool.
Well, I mean, Heath Ledger did win Best Actor. I mean, I know that's not MCU, but that is a superhero movie, so.
Right. Yeah. So that's really cool that I did see that Don Cheadle won or Don Cheadle got a nomination and he was barely in one episode of
and he's confused as to why he got nominated.
He's like
I just read an article about that. He's like, why did I get nominated?
Yeah, seriously, that was really weird because I think he just came in. It's like, hey guys, what's up? Okay, I'll see you. And it's like, well, that like he must have
was in the scene for like a minute and 30 seconds total of that entire series.
Really, really weird. And Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan did not. They didn't get nominated. That was really weird.
WandaVision,
I still love Sebastian
nominations.
Stan. Wow.
Yeah, that's a
really
lot.
Cool. Really cool. All right. So that concludes the Loki thing.